COVID-19 pandemic chronology video slash update for today, Friday, 28 October 2022. The update is, I've been doing pandemic pit crew writing work on Wikipedia, and writing and publishing, and focusing on aquatic sports, at least as of recent. And one of the things I've learned is kind of Wikipedia has a classification of different references and how reliable or unreliable they are. And so I've become familiar with, or more familiar through the pandemic pit crew work, with different publications that are abusive, and so they're classified as deprecated or blacklisted when they've been historically abusive to subjects of articles and stuff like that. So there will be like Wikipedia court proceedings. I think the most abusive and like landmark case in blacklisting, like consistently abusive publications was for, was for Daily Mail, which is a British publication that doesn't really publish anything factual. I have learned so there was action taken against Daily Mail and stuff like that. But I started off with, okay, reliable references are asked for. And then there's a list of perennial references or sources kind of thing on Wikipedia, and they have a legend, and it's like reliable, unreliable, deprecated, blacklisted. And in trying to put articles on Wikipedia, sometimes I'm like, okay, blacklist, it means, so that's what this video is talking about, is my experience with this. So there's deprecated is like the publication is unreliable, and there are documented cases. This has come up in discussion boards. This has come up through Wikipedia. People have complained via Wikipedia. There's documentation of complaints about the misinformation and unreliability of the reference. And then one step worse than that is blacklisted. Blacklisted means they cannot, the publisher, if somebody tries to add a reference, the URL, so the link to the reference, will not be added. They can do that. And I've experienced that. I've experienced that with three things that at least at the time, were not actually labeled as blacklisted. They were labeled as deprecated. So I've learned that either the list is not up to date, and deprecated, something like the Daily Mail might be called deprecated or listed as deprecated, but it's actually blacklisted. The behind the scenes is different than the public listing. And so I'm going to go through three publications that were either not listed at all, or not listed when I first encountered them, or later listed as deprecated or something, but they're treated as blacklisted. So blacklisted is really bad. Blacklisted can be backacting, but is not necessarily always backacting. What would that mean? That would mean if I put a publication, like there's a publication named Swimming World or a publication named SwimSwam. So let's say I put, they're unreliable publishers, especially in regards to swimming news. What happens if they get blacklisted moving forward? And there's enough complaints, documentation, that kind of stuff. So it would mean anybody trying to add those references, the links will be blocked, which means it happens at I'm writing on Wikipedia and I go to press submit, which is publish, and Wikipedia literally puts up a big red banner saying, stop, that is not allowed. That is a very bad, abusive publication. It's blacklisted. I have encountered that for three publications. So I could call it learning the tough way, because I didn't know. I was like, okay, I need to check the list of perennial sources more frequently, and I have since then. Or if I question whether the reference might be reliable, go check the list of references, perennial references or sources. And so it can be backacting. So like for Swimming World or SwimSwam, it could be, they could have hundreds of pages using their publication. If they are blacklisted moving forward, nobody can add new URLs, new links to their articles, and any existing links to their articles, when one clicks on it, gets a big like window can pop up, like instead of being taken to the article, one's taken to a this article has been blacklisted for whatever, or it might not list a reason, but for example, like it could be like this sweating news has been blacklisted for child abuse. All right, they cover junior international competitors, and they consistently publish misinformation about those. Some of those competitors, it's child abuse. But blacklisted means extremely abusive. And so 3 that I have encountered that were labeled as deprecated, but turned out to be, or wasn't labeled, or was part of something else that I didn't fully understand at the time, were actually blacklisted. The first was Daily Mail. I tried to add, that was before I even found the listed perennial sources, I think. I was trying to add a Daily Mail article for Chase Kalish, who's an American swimmer. And they were like, no, this is unreliable. And it got the numbers wrong and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, thank you, Wikipedia, for telling me that. They're like, this Daily Mail is blacklisted. Go, if this information exists, find it in a different publication. So I found it in a different publication. The information was better. Turned out Daily Mail was lying just per their abusive habits, habitual behavior. And so I was like, thank you, Wikipedia. So it wasn't a problem. And then the next one, but it's listed as deprecated on perennial the perennial sources list. And so I was a little confused. I was like, deprecated, I guess, can mean blacklisted, or this list hasn't been updated, something like that. The next one I had, it was a very interesting one. It was it's a publisher that got blacklisted after I put it on one page. So it's called Pledge Times. And I actually used it as a reliable reference for the Michelle Lamberti page, Wikipedia article. And it was just fine. And so I went to use it on a Lorenzo Gallosi Wikipedia page. And it was like, this source has been blacklisted, which was actually, it's the only publication I've encountered like that. So like if SwimSam were to get, or Swimming World were to get blacklisted moving forward, I've added that publication in the past, but if they got blacklisted moving forward, it would be, my experience might be like with that, what happened with Pledge Times, where they were previously not blacklisted, they're blacklisted, and then I get a thing, and I was like, well, dang, the last time I used this, there wasn't an issue. So again, they say when it's blacklisted, go find a different reference. I found a different reference. It wasn't an issue. The other reference was better, again, kind of thing. It was like, and it was, in that case, the information was better. It wasn't that the information in Pledge Times was wrong. It was that I was using it as like a secondary reference. So I was like, okay, we'll just go with the original kind of thing. Or not the original, but we'll go with one instead of 2 references, like that kind of thing. So I was like, okay, that's different. And then the third one I've had experience with being blacklisted is Google Sites. So Google has this platform where one can publish a website about oneself. That is a blacklist. Fourth, I have 4. I've encountered 4. So that Google Sites